Movie Talk for movie fans. I'm Chrisley Kennedy, and this is the show where we bring you the day's biggest movie news, and of course, we give you insight into what it all means. Joining me, as always, is AMC Movie News Editor-in-Chief, Mr. John Campea.
Well, greetings and salutations, everybody. Welcome to the show, coming to you live from the Stream.TV studios here in Hollywood, California. We are so glad you decided to make us part of your day. We
also have joining us today AMC's Alicia Malone.
Hello, everyone. Where am I? Hi!
We also have joining us AMC's Miri Jedikin.
Hey guys, how you doing? Here I am. Hi.
Where are you? Where are you? And we also have Jamie.
Who?
Jamie, where are you?
Also known as Jeremy.
Who? Also known as Jeremy. It's really Jamie.
Yeah. Hey!
All right, guys, as we prepare for the upcoming Star Wars Episode 7 in 2015, it looks like Mark Hamill is channeling his inner Alec Guinness, as the actor has released this picture of himself at Pinewood Studios, where the crew have been shooting in the new film. Miri, what do you think of the looks of Hamill is sporting? Wow.
I like it. I like a wizened old, wizardly-looking Jedi. I mean, I think, it makes sense. The film takes place 30 years after Return of the Jedi. So he's not he's not in training anymore. He's now probably a full-blown knight. He's had some experience. He looks the part. He looks like he knows stuff. He looks like a Jedi. From one Jedi to another, he looks like a Jedi.
I love that line. He looks like he knows stuff.
He does look like he knows stuff.
He looks like he knows, but knows stuff.
Yeah.
Like he's being trained.
Jedi stuff.
Deep stuff.
Yeah, I mean, last 30 years, he's been busy rebuilding the Jedi Order. I got to tell you, I love the look.
Yeah.
Not just because it is like Chrissy was saying, that inner Alec Guinness. That's an Obi-Wan Kenobi look. That looks great. Hamill hasn't looked this good though in decades.
Yeah. It's true.
He looks great.
Yeah.
I mean, you can see it in his face, in his arm, and it's just his body and everything. He looks healthier now than I've seen him look, like I said, since I was 20 years old. He looks fantastic. I love this picture.
I love that lava bear is in this picture.
Yeah.
So this little toy, if you go to Mark Hamill's personal website, he takes it with him everywhere. And much like the gnome in Amelie, he takes photos of Lava Bear wherever he is, usually just Lava Bear by himself.
Which is a character his son created.
Yes. So this time Lava Bear got to almost go to the set of Episode 7. And I also love, just a few weeks ago, he said on the BBC that the older cast are really there just to support the younger generation, and that they're all there to grow contractually obligated beards. I know it's a joke, but I just love the idea of Lucasfilm sitting there, the legal team, and stipulating how long the beard should be, what colour, you must grow a beard. Yeah, I think he looks great.
Better than fake facial hair.
Yeah, I think he looks awesome, and I think it's the obvious choice to go. I would be upset if he didn't look like this.
Right.
I mean, for Luke to take over the Obi-Wan role in the new series, or at least in the first film of the new series, is the obvious choice and brilliant, and anything else, I think, would have us all upset. And you're right, he looks fantastic, and I understand he's getting a lot of offers to do films outside of the Star Wars franchise because of this sort of return and interest in Mark Hamill.
Because of this return of
the
this
return
Jedi.
of the return of this Jedi. Very well played, my friend. So yeah, it's awesome. I'm excited. It's great.
All right, what's next?
Captain America screenwriters Christopher Marcus and Stephen McFeely, who are currently working on developing the third Captain America film, were recently asked about the future of the character. It was recently revealed by Marvel Comics that Sam Wilson, aka the Falcon, would be taking on the mantle of Captain America in a brand new comic series, which has left many people wondering if we might see the same thing in the films. The writer said the following: "I think the movies can accommodate almost anything if there's a need." Marcus said, "I think there is a much greater need to shake things up in the comics because that's a narrative that's been going on for 60 or 70 years, so you're going to wind up having to do things to it. Ours has only been off the ground for 5 or so it's not quite time to start changing things up yet." John, what do you think of the writer's comments?
I love these comments. I think they're great. I mean, look, as soon as they introduced the Winter Soldier, everybody started going on and speculating, what this means is now Sebastian Stan is going to become the new Captain America, the Chris Evans, Steve Rogers is going to be killed off, and Sebastian, because that's what happens in the comics. And we keep trying to tell people here, it's like, look, just because something happens in the comics means nothing. Means nothing. They are making movies. And, Avengers and everything else they've done in the Marvel Cinematic Universe already, and every single one of their movies have made major departures from what they've done in the comics to accommodate a better film. And I love what he says right near the end there. He goes, yeah, look, 60, 70 years of a comic book character, maybe you need to shift it up. We've been doing this for 4 or 5 years. Yeah. This is not time to change him up. Sebastian Stan is not going to become Captain America, I do not believe. And I'm glad they're not going to suddenly make Falcon Captain America either. We're going to see Steve Rogers Captain America for a while. So at least that's how I see it. Jimmy, what do you think?
It's interesting. I think the important thing to look at in that comment is if there's a need.
Yeah.
And I agree with everything you just said. Basically, I think Chris Evans is going to be Captain America as long as he wants to. I'm not sure how much longer he wants to. I've heard some rumors that he wants to maybe get out of this after Avengers, Cap 3 and Avengers 3. If that's the case, then obviously the obvious thing would be to go to Sebastian Stan and kind of work in the Winter Soldier thing. Or now that we have this option of the Falcon, that would be great too. Anthony Mackie, I don't believe, is in Avengers 2, so that would have to maybe be introduced in Avengers 3 or Cap 3. So I think Evans will continue to be Cap as long as Evans wants to be Cap. But this is the Marvel machine, and it will go on as long as Disney's making money.
Oh, yeah.
So I think it'll go on past any actors who don't want to continue being it. They'll just revamp these characters. So it is possible, I think, to see either of those scenarios in the future, but as long as Evans wants to play this role, I think he will.
Mary?
Yeah, I think that's true. I think it's also to be considered what the fans' reaction is going to be because, I have nephews that are little boys, and I know when someone gets traded off their hockey team, they cry. They get really upset. And I feel like there's a whole generation of boys that are really attached to Chris Evans as Captain America. So I think they have to also take that into consideration. We're not kind of done with him yet. The fans aren't done with him yet. So I feel like there's that element also that people have to consider.
He may be done with the fans, but the fans
right, but it's also what he's contractually obligated to.
Exactly.
So
Alicia?
I love me some Anthony Mackie, so I want more Anthony Mackie. I do think, Sam has just been introduced into the cinematic universe, so they need more time to develop that character as well. Maybe it would be cool down the track. Marvel needs more diversity, and maybe they could follow the comics, but as you said, they don't always have to follow the comic books with the cinematic universe. I also like that Stephen McFeely, I love that these two writers are back.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, they did such a good job.
Winter Soldier is my favourite of the summer, as far as the blockbusters are concerned. I love that movie. But Stephen McFeely also said the villain that he wants to see in this universe the most is MODOK, that big giant head.
The giant head.
I have no idea how they would do that, but I would just love to see that on film.
It's funny because I think that rumor about, I think you're right, I think Chris Evans is Captain America as long as he wants to be. That rumor kind of stemmed from, about him maybe wanting to step away from it, stemmed from an interview, this smaller interview he did several months ago where he says, yeah, who knows, I want to get more into filmmaking, maybe I'll take a break from acting for a bit. And what that snowballed into online is Christopher Evans talking about retiring. It's like, no, he said he might want to take a break from acting for a bit. But I want to bring this up too. Marvel has so many movies going right now and so many things coming up. Captain America could easily not have a Captain America standalone film between Avengers 3 and 4, which would probably be a 2, maybe 3-year period where he doesn't have to play Captain America for 3 or 4 years. This is the most successful thing Chris Evans has ever done or will ever do.
Absolutely. He'd be stupid to leave it.
He'd be a fool to walk away from this, and I think he knows that, but I also think it's wise of him to not just paint himself into the corner of Captain America, say, look, Feige, Joss, give me 3 years where I don't have to put on the suit, and let me go off and do some other things for a few years, and then I'll come back for Captain America, or Avenger 4 and Captain America 4 6 years from now.
Well, he has done so many of these back-to-back. I could see an actor kind of getting sick of playing the same character, even though it's a great character. But I think going forward after Avengers 3, and I don't know if this means we're in Phase 5 now, Phase 6, or whatever, but, Avengers 4, 5, 6... The team, and much like the comics, changes.
Yes.
So,
yes, it does.
We know Downey's not got too many more of these in him.
Yeah.
And that might be why we're seeing Cheadle in this next one. And so I could see these lineups and these teams, and now we're introducing Scarlet Witch and Vision and Quicksilver. So I could see this stuff kind of, it could be a whole different Avengers team by 4 or 5.
Yeah, I think it will be.
I think it should be.
Yeah, I think it should be.
It would be
So
cool.
then you even have a couple more years of a window where he can go without being Captain America because they won't need him back for Avengers 4 or
and
whatever.
You've got the Netflix characters they could kind of bring in at some point, Daredevil and those guys. And, if Sony continues to screw up Spider-Man, maybe Marvel gets him back. I mean, who knows what happens.
Well, they're already bringing
2020
in
and beyond.
Quicksilver, Scarlet Witch. We know Vision is there. I mean, so they're already introducing a lot. We know Black Panther is going to come along. We got Doctor Strange coming.
Doctor Strange.
Ant-Man's still coming. I mean,
yeah.
But then maybe
options.
Wasp
Inhumans.
Wasp
is in there. I mean, so many possibilities. All right.
My brain hurts.
All right, folks, we reached that part of the show for buy or sell. Here's how this works. In front of her, Chris Lee's got a few other items in the world of movie news. She's going to run them down. And then those of us at the table are simply going to say whether we buy it or sell it. So, Chris Lee, what do we got?
As many of you know, it was recently announced that the Mighty Morphin Power Rangers were coming back to the big screen with a new feature film. The movie will be based on the story by producer Roberto Orci, who also wrote such films as The Amazing Spider-Man 2, Cowboys and Aliens, Transformers, and the recent Star Trek films. Now the film has an official release date of July 22nd, 2016, which means it will go head-to-head with Guy Ritchie's new film, King Arthur. Miri, buy or sell the summer release date for the Power Rangers?
I'm going to buy this with a caveat that while it is coming out at a time when it's basically being counter-programmed with the King Arthur film, this is a really crazy month because you have an unannounced Marvel film, which everybody thinks is going to be Doctor Strange. You have Independence Day 2. You have another Bourne film coming out. This is like a really busy July, this July 2016. So I feel like Lionsgate launches franchises. That's kind of what they've been doing, and they do it well. So I think they know what they're doing. So I'm going to buy it because I feel like in that weekend it makes sense. But I'm also a little trepidatious about the month in general and how it might perform against these juggernaut sequels.
Jamie?
Sell it. I don't want anything to do with the Mighty Morphin Power Rangers. I don't want anything to do with it. I'm not the audience. I was also not, it's not one of those things like Transformers or something that I grew up with.
Right.
It came out when I was, I think, a freshman in high school, so I was already kind of past that age range. I think what you brought up about the weekend is very interesting. I think you're right. I mean, that's a lot of other projects that I think people are interested in too. At the same time, we saw last weekend what Turtles did. You know, and so that kind of younger audience could find the Power Rangers, but I'm not into Power Rangers, so
But so many
get rid of
kids
it.
are.
I know.
It's like
Well, but isn't it
again.
more of a merchandising thing even than a program?
Yeah, but it's just it's in the
I mean, so is
lexicon.
Turtles
People
and
are kids are
Transformers,
into it. Kids are really
Yeah.
into Power
Well,
Rangers.
you know,
right
if Jamie's not really the audience, there's not many people who are. The last time they put out a Mighty Morphin Power Rangers movie was 1997,
Yeah.
and it made $9 million worldwide.
Yeah, it was a bomb.
But look, I have poo-pooed the idea of a Mighty Morphin Power Rangers movie from the beginning. I thought it was a stupid idea for Lionsgate to even get involved with this. But, you know, I've also said there are avenues you could theoretically go down that could make this kind of cool if you wanted to. And I'm going to tell you this too. The fact that Lionsgate is dropping this in the summer blockbuster season, look, I got nothing to back this up with. That might suggest to me they've got some pretty grand plans for this.
Yeah.
It tells me that this isn't going to be the teenagers. Golly, what's what was the floating stupid head's name? Xandor or Zugboff or whatever his name was.
And you're going to have better visual effects, better production value.
Yeah,
Is this Orsi doing it too?
Well, he's producing. He's executive producing,
Okay,
and it's based on the story that he wrote.
Okay.
So he wrote the story for it. Look, this thing is still most likely going to be a giant disaster and a big bag of crap. But let's give it its due.
Yeah, who knows?
Look, Lionsgate, you made a great point. Lionsgate has been launching franchises and not doing a bad job of it. They seem to believe in this. They believe in it enough that they think they can make it a summer blockbuster and put it up against the titles you were mentioning. Look, will it probably suck and be stupid and bad and disaster? Yes. But let's not discount the fact here that if you're a Mighty Morphin Power Rangers fan and you're looking forward to this movie, there are some nuggets of hope to be found laying around here that I think should give you some encouragement. Anyway, that's just my thoughts on this.
Yeah,
What do you
you're
think,
right.
Alicia?
Yeah, I am only interested in this because of the writers they've got on board. So they've got Ashley Miller and Zach Stentz, who
right,
wrote
right.
X-Men First Class.
Yeah.
So that says to me that
That's
they
another
are
big
going
thing.
in
Yeah.
a different direction
Totally.
to the one we've seen so far. And I think there could be a market for a tween superhero franchise. And Lionsgate, as you said, are perfect for that tween market. They've done so well with all their other franchises. And the fact that it's in July, shows that they have confidence in it. It could be a blockbuster. It is counter-programming for King Arthur. So I'm going to buy it, although I don't think I will actually enjoy the film.
Oh, I never said buy or sell, did I? I'm going to sell, but with those nuggets of hope around. Let's just hope they get away from, I'm sorry, let's just call it what it is. Let's just hope they get away from the massive racism. I'm sorry.
Oh, yeah.
Which color ranger is the black dude? Oh,
Yeah.
black. Which color ranger is the Asian girl? Yellow.
Right.
The girl's pink. And then I hope they just get a little bit more cultural sensitivity and realize how stupid that is, and they get away from that a bit. But anyway, Crystal Lee, if I'm not mistaken, aren't you one of the people that I know that actually is kind of looking forward to this?
No.
Oh,
wait, where are we going with this? No,
Blasphemy.
the last one was so bad.
It
was so bad. And they haven't been around forever, and I'm not saying that they can't come out and make a great film, because we've seen so many great films. I mean, no one knew who Guardians were, and look at that. But, I mean, I'm not excited at all for Power Rangers.
All right. Well, then what do we have next?
Next we have, well, there have been several attempts to get a Bad Boys 3 movie off the ground with no success to date. However, in a recent interview on Conan the other night, actor Martin Lawrence was asked about the possibility of a third film, to which he said the following: "I believe so, yes. I just talked to Jerry Bruckheimer yesterday, and he said it's real. They're working on the script, they're getting close, and it all looks good. Jamie, buy or sell that we'll actually get a Bad Boys 3.
I'm going to have to sell this one. I would like to see a Bad Boys 3. I have spoken to Jerry Bruckheimer a couple times this year when he was promoting other projects, and I've asked him about Bad Boys 3, Pirates 5, Top Gun 2, Beverly Hills Cop 4. I'm not even making this up. And you know, he gives you the same answer every time. Yeah, we're working on the script. We're going to give it to the, whoever the actor is. Will's got the script now. Tom's getting the script. And even though some of these things have release dates, Beverly Hills Cop 4 has a release date. I wouldn't hold my breath on seeing any of these films anytime soon.
Yeah, it doesn't have a camera, but it has a release date.
Yeah.
I am also going to sell this for a couple of reasons. One, I remember a couple of years ago when he said, about 4 years ago, he said the exact same thing. Somebody asked to say, yep, it looks good, and that was 4 years ago, and here we are no closer to anything. The biggest reason I'm going to sell that we'll actually see this happening, though, is actually Will Smith. Will Smith has become, for lack of a better term, a pain in the ass, apparently, for people to try to work with and negotiate with. And it seemed, the appearance is, and this could all be bull, but the appearance is, like everything he wants to be in now, he also wants roles for the 3 other members of his family, and he wants this, and he wants that, and he wants this control, and he wants whatever. I mean, just read the stories about the experience that they had with him, because he was originally supposed to be, they looked at him for the lead in Django Unchained. And Quentin Tarantino tells a story about how, like, what Will Smith came back to him with is like, no, get out of here. And I am a Will Smith fan.
Yeah, me too.
But I honestly think this is going to be the biggest roadblock. I mean, Martin Lawrence needs.
Yeah, of course, Lawrence is on board, and Bruckheimer too needs it.
Yeah, I mean, Bruckheimer needs it too, and Martin Lawrence, he's probably getting tired of frying the fries.
Will Smith does not need this.
But Will Smith does not need this. This is a great point here. Mary, what do you think?
Yeah, I agree with you, and I want to add to what you're saying with box office draw. You know, these guys in the day when Bad Boys came out and Bad Boys 2, like, they were the guys. They were the box office juggernauts. Will Smith could carry a movie. He carried Independence Day. That's not the case anymore. We saw last summer, his movie did not do, his movies don't do well anymore.
After
Earth. It was one of the biggest bombs of the summer. And it's unfortunate because, like you, I have a huge love for Will Smith. I feel like he's part of my coming of age. I grew up on his films. I grew up on Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. I love him. But unfortunately, I don't know that he's as relevant to an audience today, especially with all the movies we're talking about that are coming out in summer now. Summer is so jam-packed with so many films and so many franchises. I don't know that this one would do that well.
I'd buy a Bad Boys reboot or remake.
Yeah, a reboot's a whole other thing.
A 3.
Yeah. I mean, is it safe to say all of us at the table would love to see a Bad Boys?
I would love it.
2 wasn't as good as 1. 2, they lost something.
It was a little bit of a
I'd
step
like to see them try to redeem themselves.
I would love to see
That's
that.
what I was going to say. I buy the concept because although, as you guys know, I'm not a Michael Bay fan, I love the chemistry between these two. They're so much fun to watch. Back in the day, it's been 11 years since number 2. So it's been a long time.
Wow.
I know Will is hard to pin down, his schedule as well as everything else. And I just would rather see Will do a small drama or something to build up his acting cred again.
But wait, what you said his schedule. What's Will busy doing? Like, really, what's he doing?
Well, that's what
Take care of the kids?
says.
Yeah.
He's hard to lock down. Every time they've tried.
All right.
One person in their family is allowed to work at a time. They can't both be working one person at a time.
All right, what's next?
Millennium Films has just announced that they have hired writer Seth M. Sherwood to develop the script for the upcoming Texas Chainsaw Massacre prequel film, which has been titled Leatherface. Leatherface will mark the 8th film in the Chainsaw franchise. John, buy or sell the coming of Leatherface.
Wasn't one of the convoluted sequels also called Leatherface, if I'm not mistaken?
Possibly.
No,
It's a bit much. I pass on this one. Look, a lot of my friends who really know horror a lot better than I do really did appreciate the reboot. I did not. For whatever reason, didn't work for me. I'm over the Texas Chainsaw Massacre. Reboot it again for me in 15 years. But I think I'm over this. For me, it's a sell. What do you think, Alicia?
It's a sell for me too, just because these kind of horror characters are scarier when you don't know about them.
Yes,
You
like
don't
Darth
know their
Vader.
background. Yeah, and you have to imagine what they must have gone through in their childhood for them to be this person. So I don't want to see an origin story for Leatherface.
Jamie?
Yeah, no, I'll sell it. I mean, I'm not really interested. Was the reboot the last Chainsaw movie?
I believe it was, yes.
Yeah, I thought that was okay, but I've never been into this series, this franchise. I'm not a huge horror person, so yeah, I'd sell it. What I would like to see is Expendables type version of the horror movie. So let's get Freddy Krueger and Mike Myers and Leatherface.
Look, everybody forgets there
Jason.
was on the planning boards. They had plans and they were trying to move forward with a Freddy versus Jason versus Ash.
Yeah, that would have been awesome. Based on the comic book by Jeff Katz.
Exactly.
Yeah.
How amazing would that have been?
Yeah.
I would like to
I
see
mean,
be
I
great.
would have gone to see that.
That'd be great.
Can I tell you a sad story from the other day? I was down Hollywood Boulevard. The guy dressed as Freddy Krueger. A kid went up to him and said, "Are you from Batman?"
Oh no.
Who do you think he was from Batman?
Yeah, I don't know.
Maybe the
Like
I'm gonna
Joker-
cry.
He's like the Joker
Or
meets
Scarecrow
Wolverine.
or something.
Yeah.
Like,
I'm gonna
what?
cry.
He's like, "I'm Freddy."
Horrible.
Mary?
Yeah, I sell this. I did not like the reboot at all. In fact, there was one scene where Leatherface is like chasing them with a chainsaw, of course, and he's running and he's chasing them, and then he like I don't know, they're at a fair and like he throws the chainsaw and like runs into the forest with his arms in the air, and it's like I reviewed this on Blu-ray when it came out on Blu-ray, and it's just so bad. It was so poorly done, and I want to like it, but I just don't. I'm not into this.
All right, folks, it's that time of the show for Mailbag. Listen, if you've got a topic or a question you'd like us to address on the show, you can email us anytime at amcmovietalk@gmail.com. Now, we're going to leave a couple of minutes at the end of the show to take some live Twitter questions as well. If you're watching us live, fire in some tweets right now to @AMC Movie News, and Chris Lee will pick a couple out there. But for now, it's time for the Mailbag questions. So, Chris Lee, what do we got?
Daniel Kerr writes, "Hi AMC, could we see Ken Watanabe back for Godzilla 2? Watanabe, he was the only interesting human character left in the movie in my opinion. What are your thoughts? Keep up the good work."
Yeah, he was clearly, especially by the end of it, he was the only interesting, really, human character in the film. And yeah, you would need to have something human to tie together the two films. He is clearly the world's leading expert on Godzilla at this point.
Yeah.
I think it would absolutely make sense to bring him back. And he's a great name, and I just love hearing his voice.
Yeah, let them fight.
Oh, he could say anything, and I'd be in. Anyway, Alicia, what do you think?
He's also Captain Exposition in the movie, so he's
Yes,
very,
he
Right. He's very important.
very
role.
important to
Yeah.
explain everything to us. So
Yes.
I could totally see him back for Godzilla 2, and I like him. I think he'd be great.
Jamie?
Yeah, I can't remember at the end of the movie. I mean, he lives, right?
Yes.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Yes.
So then, yeah, I think it would make sense for him to return. Like you said, I mean, he's the smartest guy in this world. He knows about these characters and these creatures, and yeah, I like the actor a lot. I mean, I'd like to see him return. So we'll see what they do.
Mary?
I would go one step further and say that they absolutely set him up to return, because the way it ends, like, you know, in the wreckage when Godzilla kind of like wakes up from his little disco nap and he goes back into the ocean, he's like, he kind of is the voice that's telling us that he's going to be back. So
Yeah.
I feel like he's going to be back too.
That being said, I think they would need some other characters, not
Yeah.
necessarily
Oh,
to
they're
bring
all
back
dead.
Taylor Johnson or
Please
bring back,
don't.
whoever, but Olsen. But I mean, I think that they would need to have some other character come in to sort of be the lead, but he could be the, the
Captain
bridge between the two.
Exposition.
Yeah.
Yeah, Captain Exposition again.
All right, what's next?
Nathan Arredondo writes, "Hey guys, love the show. Been watching since it appeared in my recommendation list. My question is, could Night at the Museum 3 be the most successful because people will go see it because it was Robin Williams' last film?"
I think there's going to be a bit of an effect. I think there will. It's actually not, technically speaking, it's not Robin Williams' last film. He has another film coming out after that where he is with Simon Pegg, and I can't remember the name of the film, but he does the voice of a dog.
Yeah, it's an animated movie.
So and he's got a couple coming out before then as well that they may reschedule to come after Night at the Museum, so then they can say this will be the last Robin Williams film. Will it make a difference? Yes. Will it turn a $50 million movie at the box office into a $350 million movie at the box office? Probably not. Not that Night at the Museum 3 is going to be a $50 million movie. Everybody goes to see these films. So, but will there be a bump? Will there be a difference? Absolutely, and rightfully so. I don't think there's anything wrong with that, Jamie.
Yeah, I think there could be a bump. I mean, let's remember the first two movies combined made like $1 billion.
Yeah.
This is a huge franchise.
Yeah.
So I don't want to be callous here, but I don't know that his death will affect it positively or negatively, either way. But yeah, you're right. There could be a bit of a bump. I think there'll be an interest in seeing, Robin's final performance. At the same time, I also, if it's anything like his performance, his role in the first two films, I think it'll be very small.
Yeah.
I mean,
Right.
he's barely in the second one. And so I don't know how much of a role Teddy Roosevelt has in the third movie. So he could have a very minute role. But I think it'll definitely pique some interest.
Mary?
Yeah, I agree. It's all been said. I agree.
too, and it'd be nice to see him on screen again.
Yeah. The one thing that may mitigate any difference that this may make for the film is the fact that it doesn't come out till Christmas time. Were it coming out,
Is that Christmas 2013 or 2014?
2014. Yeah, so it's coming out this Christmas. So it's got a few. If it was coming out mid-October, I think we'd see probably have a bit of a bigger thing. But I know, look, I can only speak personally. I wasn't planning on running out to see Night at the Museum 3.
Right.
I am now.
Yeah.
So, I mean, there's one.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
all right, folks, we said we leave a little bit of time at the end of the show for your Twitter questions, and we've got just a couple of minutes left. So, Chrysalie, what have you picked out in your divine judgment?
Cristobal Buno Core says, do you think we'll see more X-Men spin-offs besides just Wolverine? Maybe Deadpool, Mystique, or team-up?
Well, we know they've been trying to get Deadpool going forever. I think they would love to do a Mystique film, but I don't know that you're going to get Jennifer Lawrence agreeing to do a Mystique standalone film. Plus, really, if history is any indication, any X-Men standalone film is really just another X-Men film with one character being featured. Because that first X-Men Origins Wolverine film, there was 40 other mutants in it anyway, so it didn't really matter. I don't know. I think we're going to know a lot more after Apocalypse. Plus, it really depends on... We know they're doing Apocalypse, but we don't know what their plans are for the X-Men universe after that. Are they going to reboot it and then merge it in with the Fantastic Four cinematic universe? Are they going to continue on with the First Class cast? Are they going to just reboot entirely and have it its own cell? We just don't know. So until we get those questions answered, it's hard to say who they were going to do an individual standalone film with. Mary, what do you think?
Fassbender forever.
Yeah.
I just put him on the screen and just watch him. And I mean, I loved the cast of First Class. So I would love to see not only what they're going to do with Apocalypse, but I would love to see them spin off with this particular cast because I think they're so talented and it's such a great pool of talent and also the other things that they're doing in Hollywood right now are so interesting. So I would like to see it. I don't know if it's going to happen, but I would like it with this cast.
The only thing that kind of tempers my excitement for seeing the whole new franchise just about the First Class cast is the fact that then means we are condemned to only having movies set 20 years in the past.
Right.
As opposed to modern incarnations. So we're kind of trapped there unless they pull some kind of cosmic vortex time loop and now they're in 2014. Anyway, Mary?
But that's what I really liked about First Class was the production design.
Oh, sure,
and
yeah,
how
it was
cool
great.
it looked back in the 70s.
Yeah.
I love McAvoy, Fassbender, like you said, but I'm so intrigued to see what happens post Days of Future Past.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, that ending, spoiler so, but it was just blew your mind.
Yeah.
So
That
they
wasn't a
can do
spoiler.
anything. Well, yeah, but, people don't like any mention of the ending, so, I was trying to be nice.
When Howard the Duck shows up, I know that was crazy.
I love it when Howard the
That
Duck
was
shows up.
crazy.
Yeah.
But I would love to see Mystique as a standalone film. I don't think she would do it, but I find that character fascinating.
She's amazing. She can be anybody.
Yeah.
What a great superpower.
Yeah. I agree. I think the First Class film was the reboot. And I do think this is going to be, if they do a Fantastic Four X-Men movie, that will be the cast. I don't know how they do it.
Yeah, I'm not
but
sure
I think
yet
that's
either,
the
yeah.
cast. I want to also agree with you. I would love to see a new franchise of X-Men films with the team that was set up at the end of Days of Future Past. So I was very careful not to spoil too much there.
Good.
But I would love to see that continue.
Yeah, that would be so rad.
As far as solo films, they're trying to get a Deadpool. I don't think it's ever going to happen with Ryan Reynolds, but I think they're going to try to do that. The Magneto movie they talked about for a long time, I think basically
Kind of
was
became
First
X-Men
Class.
First Class.
Yeah,
They took
absolutely.
elements of that script and put it in there.
And the Mystique movie, I think that would be really interesting, and I think it's Jennifer Lawrence's performance that has sort of kicked that idea into, and I do think she would do it. And then Gambit is the other one we didn't mention because they are talking about that with Channing Tatum, and I think you really have to create a world around Gambit to make that work.
Yeah, I don't know
because
that they're ready
Gambit's
to
just
do that.
basically always been a piece of the X-Men puzzle. So to have him be his own film, there really has to be something good going on there to make that work. But it'll be interesting to see what happens after Apocalypse, and it'll be interesting to see what team we get in Apocalypse.
Yeah.
All right, folks. Well, we're almost out of time here, so we are going to take 2 more questions from Twitter just real fast. So what else do we got?
Dominique Zamora says, will we see a 3rd installment of Percy Jackson?
As much as I kind of would like to see one, no, I don't think we will.
Didn't do that well, did it?
not do that well, and I don't think there's a lot of interest. Percy's getting
never
older.
And Logan Lerman's getting older now. Like
Yeah.
He's doing more interesting things.
Yeah.
He's in Fury, is he not?
Yeah.
I'm
so.
really looking
Yeah,
forward to
he is.
seeing him in
He was
Fury.
in
He was
Perks.
in Noah.
I like him. I've thought he
think
was
he's
great
great.
ever since I saw him in Gamer.
Yeah.
Like I really, and that's not that great of a movie, but I thought he was really good in it. So, all right, what's next?
Casey Kelderman wants to know if there's any possibility for an Austin Powers 4 or a Wayne's World 3.
I think less Wayne's World 3. I think there's a very solid chance for another Austin Powers. I know that Michael Myers has been talking about doing one for about 5 years now. And look, it's the Sylvester Stallone effect, you know.
Right.
I did all these things that worked so well, and then I went away to try new things, and they all failed. So eventually I just went back to Rocky and Rambo. Vin Diesel did that too. I'm not going to do any more Fast and Furious. Nothing else is working. Hey, I'm back in Fast and Furious.
And that's actually worked well for
and
both
it has
of those
worked
actors.
both
Definitely.
times.
Not
So much for Arnold, but it's worked both times.
No, not so much for Arnold. You're right, but we'll see with Terminator Genesis.
And the new Conan.
I listened to a podcast recently, WTF, Mark Maron's podcast, and he had Mike Myers on for like an hour, and it was amazing. And he talked about his career, but also a lot about the Supermensch documentary that he spent like 4 years making and directing. I didn't get the sense that this is a guy who really is interested in doing much anymore, and honestly doesn't need to. I mean, he made like $1 bazillion
I was going to say,
on that
he's got
franchise.
a full-time job counting his money.
And he's
counting his money.
a Canadian, so he takes care of his money.
He just had a second, I believe, a second child. I just got the sense from hearing him talk for an hour that he's kind of good and kind of stepping away from the Hollywood thing for a while. So if he did go back to one of those 2 franchises, I think it would be Austin Powers. But I would love to see Wayne's
Me
World.
too. Me too. It's like I love Wayne's
And I
World.
read this one interview with him where I think people underestimate how much, number one, people's reaction, and number two, his own failure of the Love Guru really actually affected him.
I think so, too.
I think for him it was one of those things where he kind of felt like he could almost do no wrong and doing all this stuff. And I think he believed in Love Guru.
Right.
I think he believed in it until the moment the first reviews started coming out, and he realized that how truly awful that movie was, and it failed, and I think that kind of knocked him.
And
for a
done
loop.
right, that could have been like his Borat. You know what I mean? That
could
could have
have
been that
been marvelous.
character, but it was just miserable.
Well, he had launched these really successful characters with Austin Powers and Wayne Campbell, and on SNL he had, Coffee Talk, which I always wanted to see in a movie because I know women that are exactly like.
Well, and they talked about the Sprocket one.
Yeah.
They talked about doing
Dito.
that from a Dito. They
Touch
talked
my
about doing
monkey.
Sprocket as a movie. So I don't know. We'll see.
And my favorite movie of his is still So I Married an Axe
Oh, it's
Murder.
the best.
That is still my absolute favorite movie.
Woman.
Harriet. Yeah, that's a
And
great
they
film.
kind of tributed that in 22 Jump Street
Yeah.
with that whole scene. 'Cause
Yeah.
You could totally,
With the
he was
slam
totally
poetry.
taking the Mike Myers kind of beats in
Definitely.
that anyway.
I'll just rewatch Wayne's World and Austin Powers.
Yeah.
And another one.
Exactly.
All right, folks, so that'll do it for us. We're all out of time today. Thank you so much for joining us for this episode of AMC Movie Talk. Don't forget, lots of great films playing in AMC theaters right now. Head on over to www.amctheaters.com for your theater, showtime, and of course your movie ticket information. If you want an audio-only version of this episode, look in the description of this video, and you'll find links to our podcast feed so you can listen to us while you work out or on your drive to work or whatever. And don't forget, if you have not done so already, click that thumbs up button. It's just a really cool way of letting other people know that you like the show and letting us know that you like the show. Make sure you subscribe to our channel as well. I want to thank the people sitting at the table with me. First of all, sitting to my left, our very own Miss Alicia Malone. Alicia, where can people find you online?
You can find me on Twitter and Instagram at Alicia Malone.
Way over there is, of course, Miri Jedikin. Miri, where can people find you?
Miri the Jedi at Twitter, at Instagram, and that's it.
Our very special guest today, the returning Mr. Jamie Philbrick. Jamie, where can people find you online?
Check out IamRogue.com and at IamRogues our Twitter and Jamie Philbrick on Facebook.
And you can find me on the various social media networks just at John Campia. Thanks a lot for joining us, guys. My name's John Campia for AMC Movie News, and until tomorrow, bye-bye.
Hey everyone, if you liked this video, click that thumbs up button and make sure to subscribe to our AMC Movie News YouTube channel. It's free and helps you stay up to date with all the latest movie news, as well as our daily AMC Movie Talk show. Also, make sure that you follow us on Facebook and Twitter to stay up to date with all of our special promotions, contests, and prize giveaways.